Now, however you want to look at it, whatever title they gave time here that we are reading, The Return of the Direwolf, is clickbait. And we read, yeah, Romulus and Remus are doing what puppies do, chasing, tussling, nipping, nuzzling. Yeah, I love that. But there is something very unpuppy-like about the snowy white 6 months old, their size for starters. At their young age, they already measure nearly 4 feet long, which is one of the characteristics that I was telling you about. They're still grey wolves, but they are a new species, and now they've got characteristics that make them more similar to the direwolf, one of which, as you can see, is their size. Man, how big are these gonna be when they're fully grown? Tip the scales at 80 pounds and could grow to 6 feet and 150 pounds. Goodness gracious, I do want to see that. Then there is their behavior, the angelic exuberance puppies exhibit in their presence of humans, throttling up for hugs, belly rubs, kisses is completely absent. Now this is fascinating, but I would like to know if it's also the case with grey wolves, or is it only a case once you turn on certain genes that now make them more similar to the direwolf? I wonder. So no belly rubs. Man, my Pomeranian is going to be upset. They keep their distance, retreating if a person approaches. Even one of the handlers who raised them from birth can get only so close before Romulus and Remus flinch and retreat. That does sound like ancient Rome, to be honest, although ancient Romans wouldn't retreat. They would go for frontal assault. This isn't domestic canine behavior. This is wild lupine behavior. There you go. The pups are wolves. Splendid. Not only that, they are dire wolves, which means they have cause to be lonely. And again, you see, they are stating that they're direwolves. The reason why they are stating that is because indeed the company does make these statements, they repeat them, but they're not direwolves. They cannot be direwolves. They're grey wolves that look more like direwolves. The direwolf once roamed an American range that extended as far south as Venezuela and as far north as Canada. Man, that is insane. But not a single one has been seen in over 10,000 years, and that is correct. When the species went extinct, plenty of direwolf remain have been discovered across the Americas, however, and that presented an opportunity for a company named Colossal Biosciences. And here is you see the Time magazine, extinct, not anymore, scratched. This is Remus, he's a direwolf. Well, is that what it looks like as a puppy? I don't think so. The first to exist is in over 10,000 years. Endangered species could be changed forever. When it comes to the tech, it is interesting. However, one of the things that I noticed that the company said is that they want to repair the ecosystem in the sense that, of course, some of these species go extinct. Now, here's the thing. One of the things that I want to say about this company before we continue is that apparently they are a little annoyed that they've been compared to the likes of Jurassic Park, for obvious reasons. But I mean, can you really fault the public? I mean, what did you expect? Of course people are gonna compare you to Jurassic Park. Now, I don't think that they are planning on bringing back the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Although then again, I mean, if there is a vote about it. But they did mention the mammoth, and I mean, of course, that is the whole thing, the whole spiel, the whole stick when it comes to Jurassic Park was indeed this, the idea of bringing back extinct species, specifically from the prehistoric period. Now, once again, I think the reason why they don't like that is PR. Probably the PR department is not a good idea to be associated with where shit hit the fan and the Tyrannosaurus and all the raptors started devouring people. Maybe that's not a great idea. Public perception. So I think that's why whatever scientists, spokespersons decided to be like, no, we're not like Jurassic Park. No, nothing to do with it. But they do have, I mean, it's similar. It is a similar thing. So yeah. Anyways, one of the things that they say is that these projects have an ecological value in the sense that within our ecospheres, there are sort of specific niches where animals are needed, if you will, to maintain a certain synergy, a certain balance within the ecosphere of a given sector of our planet. But then when some species unfortunately go extinct, and as we say, it happens all the time, and this can create some problems within said ecosphere. And so they say, no, we can actually intervene and start placing back these animals in order to repair the environment. I think this is part of what they were pushing. Thing is, though, I don't really think that neither the mammoth nor the direwolves belong anymore. I mean, their world is gone. In 10,000 years for the direwolves and whatever an animal they choose, it might even be older than that, more ancient, they don't belong anymore. Their preys are gone. The sort of nutrition will be completely different. Now, given, I guess you could teach any carnivore to eat a deer if you really needed to, but still, what niche are the direwolves going to fill in the modern world, even if they were actually managing to not create a modified grey wolf, but a real prehistoric direwolf. Personally, when I look at this, rather than thinking, oh yeah, this technology is interesting because they can bring ancient animals that are dead to life. Once again, it's fascinating thought for a few, but then again, recreating a full population and integrating them into the wild, I mean, I don't know how that's going to work. I would be more interested in perhaps using this technology to avoid endangered species that we think are very important for our environment, to help them not go extinct, to preserve them. And one of the things that I was reading is when a specific population cluster of any given species is about to go extinct, so their numbers are extremely low, they enter a loop that is called inbreeding depression, where they start breeding with each other because they lack other ways to find mate. And this works in the short run, but eventually it will create a lot of problems. And over a few generations, they get infertile, and that's the end of it anyways. So maybe if we see that there are some species that are going extinct, they're going through this process that we can map, then perhaps this technology could be used to preserve these species. But once again, resurrecting ancient animals, it is a fascinating project. But what do you do with them afterwards? Make a park? I'm sorry, but whenever the topic of reintroducing megafauna, prehistoric megafauna into our ecosphere here is brought back, that's what I think of. I think of the entertainment park. Maybe there are better ways to use them. I haven't got a clue. But here we are. I mean, you could make a lot of burgers from a mammoth. So there is that. Mammoth steak? Well, let's see if they can explain to us how they pull this off.